Hey everybody, pay attention. So this is marketing your business with data rather than feelings. I'm James Thompson. This is Ashley Coombe, Bhavik and Shannon Vogel. First things first, if you have any questions, the whole point of this is to answer questions. So we have a hashtag that you can hit up on Twitter, data not feelings. And Shannon's going to be monitoring that, and we'll ask those questions and answer them if we see anything come up on that. Also, important thing, you should have feedback forms. Just remember to circle the 10 on that and leave perfect feedback, really good question or comments for us. So a little bit about us. I've been an affiliate for 10 years. I've been a programmer for about 20. And I started a company earlier this year called Daft Labs. It's basically a holding company for affiliate projects, and we do consulting. And I'm going to let Ashley introduce herself, and Bhavik and Shannon and so forth.
My name is Ashley Coombe. I work for All Inclusive Marketing. I'm a social media strategist. And so I have several clients where I do their social media. And I've been doing that for about 7 years now.
Okay, and my name is Bhavik, and I'm an affiliate. I've been an affiliate for about 3 years or so, have a website, inkdatabase.com, but my primary job is also that I'm a Six Sigma consultant, basically helping our company with improving our processes, and I've been doing that for about 9 years or so now.
And I'm Shannon Vogel. I'm the owner of a social media company called The Bee Scene, and we do management and training and consulting for small and large businesses. I've been doing it for about 7 years, and I'm excited to be here. Thanks for coming.
Excellent. So we're just going to talk at you for 5 to 10 minutes just to kind of get your brain thinking about the things that we do. I'm going to go first. I've been in Vegas for 2 weeks, though, so if I lose my voice or my liver, please bear with me. So I'm going to talk about on-site optimization. Essentially, if you aren't testing your site, or you don't know what your goals are, or those kind of things, then you really can't make effective use of things like ads, Facebook, those kind of things, email marketing campaigns. So first thing, this is a mantra at Daft Labs, is track shit, don't use math, or don't use feelings, use math, right? That means that you need to know what you're trying to do, what your average sale is. If you're working for like a real estate company where the average sale is hard to track or something like that, you need to know what the smaller increment is and what that value is to you. Once you figure those things out, track everything that you can. Everything from when the user hits the ad to when they hit your page to what they see when they're on your page. Use heat map tracking, those kind of things. Know what kind of images work, know what kind of words work. And this is what I was talking about. Know exactly what your conversions are. In an e-commerce site, that's really easy to do. On an e-commerce site, you know that you've converted somebody when they check out. For a real estate company, I was a partner in a real estate company for a long time, so that's I'm going to make a lot of examples with that. It's a little harder because you aren't going to be able to sell $1 million houses 10 times a day. So you need to know that. Conversion is when somebody signs up to your email newsletter, or when they request to speak to an agent, or when they spend 5 minutes on your site searching for houses. So the first thing I want to talk about, I'm going to give you some brainstorming ideas for things that you can change on your site itself. And so photos are really impactful, especially for industries like the auto industry. This image here is the same photo 4 times. One's just a full color, grayscale. An important thing, though, is that top right one is chartreuse. That activates the most rods and cones in your eyes. That's actually why fire engines are turning chartreuse instead of red, because the medical industry has figured out that people are less likely to run into them because they can see them. Make sure that you change the mood, play around with different things like happiness, sadness, love, hate, those kind of things. Change the gender. Let's say you're running a dental office and you have a picture with a doctor-patient. Make sure that you change the gender of the doctor and change the gender of the patient. That right there is 4 tests that you can run. Change filters, colors. Play around with words. You should know what words that sell are. You can actually just put that in quotes in Google. You can get a million lists of words that sell. They're power words, words that people have already A/B tested. Make sure that you're working those in your copy. For your copy on your landing pages, try trading words out using thesaurus.com. Make sure you know what your competitors are doing. Check out whatrunswhere.com. Make sure, check out people in your industry, see what they're doing, what they're testing with. Test against what's on their pages versus what's already on your pages. If you run an e-commerce site, on your landing pages, try cycling out different groups of products, suggested products, bundled products, those kind of things. So here's some tools. Once you've brainstormed, reach out and try some actual tools. Optimizely is my favorite thing in the world. I think their base package is $17 a month. If you aren't using it, you probably should be. Optimize Pressed is a fixed price. I think it's $100, $97, something like that. If you run a WordPress site, it's really easy to A/B test on your WordPress site. You can also roll your own. A friend of mine at Rent the Runway, they rent out like evening gowns and things like that. Their development team just put query parameters in the URL so that the marketing people could change the colors of the pages, the photos of the pages, those kind of things. If you do roll your own, Genetify is in there at genetify.com. It's a really great product for optimizing your optimization process. It uses genetic algorithms to help you capture sales on a failing campaign. It'll switch over to the successful one. So the next thing, you need to know when your statistics are relevant. You should know what standard deviation is. You should know basically when you've reached statistical relevance. You can get that on surveysystem.com. They have a little statistics calculator. The URL is up there. But essentially, if you run a campaign with 100 clicks, let's say, or 100 conversions or something like that, you probably aren't going to see something that's statistically relevant. You aren't going to see any sort of information that you can rely on. You want to be absolutely sure you can do that, and you want to be turning that over on a weekly basis. So once you've picked out the things that you're going to change, once you've run a test, you need to determine whether or not it was successful, and then go back to the beginning and do that as fast as possible. My favorite way to do that is with CPC. You can dial that up. You spend $10,000 a day if you want, get tons of traffic, and really flip over your tests. I want to jump into a really quick case study that I've been doing since the last affiliate summit. It's about 24 weeks. We spent $50,000 and we made $10,000 over the course of 24 weeks. And essentially, we ended up paying $300 a conversion. And that wasn't profitable because we were only getting paid $150 a conversion. So basically, at week 12, we broke even. And by broke even, I mean we were just spending, I think we were spending $147 to make $150, which was terrible. We kept optimizing those campaigns using what I was just telling you. Eventually, we recouped our investment at week 20. We ended up losing $10,000 before we ever made anything back. So started at 308.80, ended at, or it's currently at 70.97. It's actually a little bit lower than that now. But we expect to make $72,000 over the next 24 weeks, the same amount of time. So that's it for mine. I'm going to pass it off to Bhavik.
Okay. Do you have the...
It's right there.
Okay, thanks. So I'm Bhavik Modi, and as I said earlier, I'm a Six Sigma consultant with the company I work for. And a lot of people ask me, what is a Six Sigma consultant? That's a term that not many people have heard or may not be familiar with. So just wanted to kind of talk a little bit about what process improvement is and kind of what Six Sigma is before I jump into the details of my slides. So process improvement really is around using data to eliminate defects from your processes in order to have a more consistent output. So it's really about looking for trends in your data, understanding what things are good, what things are bad, and then using that data to drive your processes to be more robust and repeatable so that every time you go to execute them, they're always happening. Now, people always think about, well, what's a defect? Well, a defect is anything we don't want. A lot of times people think of defects as things that get out to the customers, but really any of those defects are things we don't want. If our costs are much higher than what we want, those aren't good things. So we want to try and reduce those problems in order to have a more consistent, repeatable process so that every time we go to execute it, it comes out what we expect. Why is data important in this? You don't want to throw darts at a wall and see what sticks, because you'll be throwing money at things that may not work, or you're just trying to guess, but you're not using data to really get to a systemic problem. So you really want to use data to help drive the analysis and understand what are the causes for those problems or defects that you're having. So one of the things that I'm going to be talking about is the DMAIC process. This is one you can go onto Google, find a lot of information about, but really it's a structured methodology to understand your problem. So you want to define what that problem is. You want to measure data around that problem that you're experiencing. Then you want to analyze it to understand root causes. So not just the symptom of why is this problem happening, but what's the underlying cause of that, so that then you can improve and put in place systemic fixes that will resolve that problem. And then you want to be able to control it and track it to make sure that it's doing what you're looking for it to do. So the first area is define the problem. So as I kind of talked about it, you want to understand what your problem areas are. So I use this example right here, cost per click. Let's say your cost per click spike up unexpectedly. That might be an area that you want to do this project on to try and solve systemically, to understand what's causing that, or what are some of the contributors to that area, so that you might be able to improve it and get back under control. So you want to look at measurable attributes. So a lot of your data might be the types of things that are pass or fail, or good or bad. Those aren't really that measurable, so you want to try and understand data points that you can measure. Okay? From there, what you want to do is you want to measure the data. Now, how many of you commute to work or have a drive that you do on a consistent basis? Okay, the majority of you, right? So if I was just to use the drive to work example, could you tell me roughly how long it takes you to get to work, right? I think pretty much everyone in here knows, on average it takes me, let's say 20 minutes is your example. You know that some days it might take you a couple extra minutes because you might be behind a school bus, or you might be hitting a few red lights, while on other days you might get it down to like 17 minutes or 18 minutes because all the lights were green and you were able to speed the whole way. So you have a kind of normal range that you're always operating in. But there are some times where you have things that are so far outside the normal range that you want to dig into those and find out, why are they happening? So in this example, you can see the first dot that you have there is so far outside the range, and then towards the middle, there's another dot that's extremely low. What you want to do is you want to look at what were some of the contributors to that first dot, the one that's so far outside the extreme in the high end, and you maybe want to try and reduce that. Or the other one that's extremely low, what were some of the causes that happened that day, and can you replicate those so that so that you can try to get the entire average to go lower. So using the driving to work example, you might find that the one where it's at the top, it took you 35 or 40 minutes to get to work, there were construction on the road or significant accidents, while on the other one you might have found a different way because you were detoured, so you went a way that you maybe never gone before. So you want to look at the data to observe those trends and figure out what is the reason, and use the data to tell you which ones are outside the real norms and figure out why those are happening. So then you want to analyze your data. So from there, you don't want to just look at the symptoms that you're experiencing. So just looking at something and saying, wow, it went higher, why is that? You want to really drive to a root cause of the problem, or really understand the detailed reasoning behind it. So understanding the root cause is not just, I had a flat tire, it's because of the nail. It's understanding why the nail was there to begin with and trying to eliminate that. And there are a lot of structured methodologies out there that you can look at. And again, you can Google any of these, but things like 5 whys. So not only asking why once, but digging in deeper and deeper. So saying, why was the nail there? Oh, because we had just changed the roof, or something like that. And then digging in, well, why did we do that? And understanding the underlying cause of the problem. Other methodologies are like fishbone diagrams, where you brainstorm potential causes and then use the data that you experienced earlier to help narrow your focus down to the likely causes. All of these tools that you have here could help you figure out what those root causes are, and then you want to put in place some corrective actions, things that you use to fix those problems or causes that you're experiencing. So ideally, those causes should improve the data, and you should be able to see a difference in trends. So you could see here in this example, the first section of the data, the averages were in the 25 range, and now, as a result of all the changes that we're doing, they're closer to the 75 range. So you could see that consistently we've improved overall. Okay? Now I'm going to be turning it over to Shannon. So.
Thank you very much.
Yep.
So I'm going to be talking a little bit more about content. So can I get a raise of hands if you manage your own social media presence and contribute to your own content? Fantastic. So the first thing I want to talk about is using your insights. And when I talk about one specific thing like Facebook, I also want you to think about the same thing for Pinterest and Twitter and everything else. I'm just going to use one example. But for example, with your Facebook insights, take a look at what you're getting the highest results from. So what you're getting the most engagement, what you're getting the most, the things that are getting shared the most, because that's what we want to happen. So look at your content, see what's getting the highest numbers and the most reach, and ask yourself the question, is it because I asked a question? Is it because I gave free helpful advice? Is it a link back to my website? Really look at the type of content that you're putting out and take that and measure it against your audience. So take a look at your audience inside your insights and know if you're talking to men, know if you're talking to women, know if you're talking to people in their 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s. Because a lot of times as business owners or just if you're really fired up and passionate about what you do, you want to give people what you think they want, but you need to give people what they want. And data can tell you what they want because you want to make sure you're giving them what they want. There's nothing worse, and nod your head if you agree, there's nothing worse than putting your heart and soul into content and then nobody does anything with it. Mm-hmm. You can't stay motivated, and social media starts to fall to the bottom of your inbox, and you lose interest. But if you'll pay attention to what people want and then you give them what they want, they're going to share it more, they're going to interact with you more, because one of the goals that you want to try to accomplish is not only giving good content, but you want to start conversations that turn into relationships, because that's really where your social media takes off and launches. This is just a reminder of paying attention to what days of the week. So think about it, think about your content first. Is it, did I ask a question? Did I give helpful advice? Then take a look and say, oh, well, clearly, Saturday, Sunday, these are the days that my audience is paying attention. So maybe change your schedule up where you post your content on the days that people are actually paying attention to you. Because we want people to share, you want to pay attention to when people are actually sharing your content. The other thing I'll tell you is I like to think about your audience. So for example, if your company has anything to do with women or retail, we'll just stick with women for a second. When are women using social media? They've probably gone home, put the kids to bed, got their feet up on the coffee table, in their bathrobe, glass of wine in one hand, iPad in the other hand, and they're messing around on Facebook. Are you giving them your information when they're using it and when they're in the right frame of mind to receive it? Because with social media, of course, you don't want to pitch and sell all the time. You want to be giving free, helpful advice, showing that you're the authority. But if you can get that information in their hands when they actually can receive it the best, then that's fantastic. The other thing with timing is think about yourself. So think about when you get burnt out or Friday afternoon at 4 o'clock and all you can think about is a cocktail and you've completely checked out from work. What are you doing? You're on your phone, your computer, your iPad, and you're just messing around on social media. So think about things like that. If you have anything to do with food and beverages, post when people are hungry. Post when people are about to make a decision before they eat. So, this might send JT into full-on shock, but I'm going to do it anyway. So, data is very, very, very important, but one of the questions that I get asked the most every single day is, how can I tell if this post turned into a sale? Because a lot of business owners say, well, I don't want to put it out there if I can't prove that it turned into a sale. So this example is a company that is trying, their goal is to inspire people with home images. So the idea is you want to inspire, I call her Susie Homeowner, with a gorgeous picture. And we want her to think, oh, wow, that's a really good looking kitchen. My kitchen's not that pretty. I'm going to wait till my husband gets home from work and ask him if we can redo the kitchen. Then, maybe they don't have the money that day. Maybe she didn't get around to asking that day. So then she gets around to asking. He says, no, we don't really have the money right now. Well, you post a little bit more. She sees some more pictures, gets inspired, sees that you're the authority, and then maybe their tax refund check came. Or maybe she just nagged him to death until they finally said yes. But going back to that client saying, this particular post is the reason that they wrote you a check for $10,000 worth of granite, that's hard to do. The good news and the bad, are you stroking out yet? The good news and the bad news is that with social media, a lot of things happen in the back of the brain, so we really don't want the consumer to know that this is what we're doing. We want to inspire them and keep yourself present in their life and in their news feed without selling and pitching to them. So we really don't want them to know what's happening. So a lot of people get frustrated, so I just wanted to cover that it's okay that you can't always pinpoint the sale back to one particular post, but if you'll really, really pay attention to and track everything down to, did I post about this product this many times, and then this customer bought it, and really, really dig into paying attention to what you're putting out there and then who's actually buying it and if they're repeat buyers.
Can I interrupt you for just a second?
Yes.
So the reason I'm not having a stroke is because you can actually correlate. You can say a conversion, right, on a post is a like, right? And you can figure out what posts get likes, and then you can correlate likes to sales, right? And so that's fine. But track that shit. Don't just use feelings. So that's why I'm not having a stroke about that. The likes are the conversions. Correlate your likes to sales. If your likes don't correlate to sales, maybe you shouldn't be doing that.
And the other thing I'll say about that is a lot of people don't have 40 hours a week to put into their social media, so you get really frustrated and think, oh my God, I barely have time to get the content out. Now I got to measure it and see what works. You have to figure out the balance of what works best for you for the time that you have and the money that you have. But again, why would you put the effort into putting content out there and trying to give and give and give if you're not getting any return? So it's important to spend the time to figure out what's working so that you're not wasting your time. This just cracks me up, and it's just a reminder that people are changing, people are always getting new pieces and parts of information, they're constantly getting inspired. So that ties into my whole point that I like to beat to death is you have to constantly pay attention and constantly reevaluate what you're doing, because your audience is going to change as it grows, because when you give people what they want, then your audience is going to grow. When it grows, you don't know if it's going to grow more females, more males, what age group, so you always want to pay attention to what the changes are so you can give them what they want based on those changes. Another thing I get asked a lot is, can I just put out good content and like content's supposed to be king and then I should be done, right? Again, I like to beat the same point to death just in case you hear it differently. But if you put great content out there, why not make sure that you're putting it out there when your audience wants to receive it? And constantly reevaluate. Again, there's nothing more frustrating than putting the time and effort into social media and not getting likes and not getting comments. So if you can just retrain your brain that when you're doing your social media next week, really stop and think about try to get in your customer's head and think, what would I want? What do I need in order to purchase this product? Really get inside what they need and what they want. Because when you're a business owner and you do this all day, every day, and you're knee deep into it, it's really, really hard to step back and not just tell them what you want very efficiently to get them to hurry up and buy it. So just constantly reevaluate, pay attention, know your audience, and the last thing I'll say that's not entirely related is have a good time. If you don't have a good time, that's going to come across in your presence, and people can feel that. So if you're not feeling it, it's better not to put out content that's not great content, that doesn't feel good. So, so enjoy yourselves, but find that balance between having fun and marketing and using your data. And next, we have Ashley.
I think it's really interesting. I'm going to emphasize some of the things that Shannon said, but when we decided to do this panel, I thought it was very interesting that we have two very math-oriented thinkers, and then we have two people here that are social. So when I approach my job online, I rely on my feelings. It's been very good for Bhavik and JT to remind me that no, I need to track it, and but I do. I completely rely on feelings, and I create a specific audience in my head that I'm speaking to. I know who they are, and I speak to those people. So what I pulled together, some of my slides are some examples of when I was wrong and how I figured that out, and how it made me reevaluate who my audience was based on the data. One of the sites I run is a local site called Castle Rock Now. It's events in the town. It's a very community-oriented location. So I thought it would be a great idea. There's a business in town that he makes a different soup every day from ingredients that he pulls together from the town. And I thought, people on my Facebook page will love to see what his soup is every day. So I started posting his soup of the day. And my job, my conversions are likes, shares, comments, because it's my job to show people who want to advertise on my site that I'm getting a lot of engagement. So my conversions are engagement. So I thought, of course, they're going to love this. And they did not. As you can see, I think at the time I had around 5,000 likes on the page, and 3 people liked the post. So I did some experimenting. This is another one where he was putting up his different flavors of martinis every day, and I thought, oh, people will love to know. He has a live band that comes in every night, and I thought, oh, people will love to know what's going on and what kind of drinks he's serving. They did not. I continued to get 3 likes on those posts. So then, one of the things I tried was sharing pictures of our town. This is, I actually just moved, but this was my hometown for a long time. This is my blog post when I moved. People loved it. People loved seeing the pictures of the town. So you can see that I got lots and lots of likes, shares, comments, all of that on that specific post. One of my points is when you hit on something like this on your Facebook, use it again. So reuse that content that's really popular. A couple weeks later, I reshared the same picture, and again, I got that same amount of content. So whenever you find something that your audience likes, keep hitting on that. Continue to use it over and over. So one of the things that I began to track is that people loved seeing pictures of our town. I have the same site in another town right nearby called Parker now. So Parker and Castle Rock are both suburbs of Denver, and they had no interest in pictures. So on that site, I would share pictures, and I would get no likes, no shares, no comments. So I used that data to begin to cultivate my audience in my mind for the 2 different locations. And as I cultivated that audience, I was able to use the data to confirm what they wanted. So this was something that surprised me. I am not a big fan of using pictures with words on it that have nothing to do with what the actual site about or what the Facebook page is about. So you can see on these, on the first one, my audience loved that. They were so excited to see a funny comment about Monday. They reshared it. I got all of that engagement. I was able to show my advertisers that I was getting engagement. So, like I said, try it again. So I tried it again and did not get the same engagement. In fact, I think these were the 2 different locations. So I was using that data, using the shares, the likes, the comments to cultivate my idea of the audience. So these were the 2 different locations. One of the locations liked it, shared it over and over, commented on it, and one of the locations, I did get 36 likes on that one, but it was a little different. But the same idea that use it again, but watch the data. So if you assume something's going to work and you're not watching the data, you're going to run into trouble. I think these were just more examples of when I was sharing a big event that would happen in town. People loved it. So I continued to cultivate my audience, continued to cultivate the message to my audience, and was able to use the data to see what they liked and continue to share with them. These are some of the different things that I would test with them. So when you're sharing with your audience, continue to cultivate. I feel like I'm saying continue over and over, guys. So apparently it's really important. Write this down. Continue to cultivate that message. Find what works for your specific audience. Some of the different things that I try is using a calendar to set up the number of times I share something. So if it works, for example, the pictures of our town were working, so I would set them up on a calendar to share over and over, because the important thing is to increase that engagement. When you're increasing your engagement on Facebook, your posts are showing up more often and higher up on people's news feeds. So reshare what works. Some of the things that I tested with when we started testing different things to use data to rely on things or to make decisions, I would test stock photos versus personal photos. So as you could see in some of the towns, people liked the stock photos. They thought they were funny, they would share them. And in one of the towns, the more personal photos were what got the attention. So I was able to keep that in mind when dealing with my audience, use stock photos for one and personal photos for another. I would test different things like scenery, sharing pictures of scenery versus what kind of soup was being served at the coffee shop. One of the things I use a lot on Facebook is really gently stirring up a little bit of drama. I tried that on one of my sites and got crucified on my site. People were very offended. I started talking about one of the, I don't know if you guys remember, but when Colorado was flooding a lot. We posted a picture that made light of the situation, and people were very angry and very sensitive. It did increase engagement, but it was in a negative way, so I had to pretty quickly take that down. So I continued to test between stirring a little bit of drama with things. I did bring up on one of my sites about a building site that was being developed that our town was very unhappy with, and I would just kind of poke and prod at that, so I got the engagement up. People would go crazy discussing that on Facebook. I always test between I use the word selly because it's a salesy message versus an informational message. So I'm very, very careful about selling to people on Facebook. I know that when you're running a business, it's not easy to not be salesy, but I would watch that and test it and see the response that you're getting on Facebook, and just be really cautious about how much you're selling versus when you're just giving information. One of the things that I always test, and I always see, you guys probably all know this, but when you're using a picture, you get more engagement, almost across the board. I know that I'm saying that based on feelings instead of actual data. I just caught myself doing that, so.
Shame on you.
But using a picture almost always increases the engagement, so I do notice, though, on Social Media Examiner, if any of you follow Social Media Examiner, they never use pictures, and they get a huge amount of engagement. So it's testing who your audience is, what they are looking for, and paying attention to the data that you get back from it. These are some of the ads that I put together. Actually, the client is in the room, so I tried to take the client's name off the photo, but I didn't succeed all the way through. But when you're I'm a huge fan of Facebook ads. They have served me well for every business that I've ever worked with. You are able to set up a tracking pixel, so when we're talking about conversions, whether that conversion is a newsletter sign up or a sale, you're able to set up a tracking pixel within Facebook ads, put that piece of code on your website, and you can see if someone clicked on the ad, you'll be able to see if it converted all the way through the whole process. So you'll be able to see that sales funnel when you do the ads. But this was a test that I did. I think there was about 36 different ads, but Facebook now gives you the option to use 6 different pictures in each ad, and Facebook will serve up whichever picture is more successful. So I just took 2 examples here. The top 2, all I switched was the title. I thought that I was sure that people would respond more to having no time for social media. And what they responded more, you can see there was a significant difference. They responded, oh, there we go. So you can see here, let's see. All I switched was this social media stress versus no time for social media, and it made a big difference. So I watched how many page likes or how many actions were taken based on just that one little line being different. And then I tested 6 different pictures. So I put those 6 pictures in. This was one of the pictures, and I didn't change the line. I tested the 2 different lines with each of the 6 different pictures, and then I was just able to watch that data and see how successful each individual picture was. And you can kind of see just the different one-liner at the top. I got a lot more interaction from that. One of the things that I would emphasize, Shannon talked a lot about Facebook Insights, and I love Facebook Insights. I look all the time at what is creating different interaction or more interaction based on each different sites. These are some of the other tools that I use. Sprout Social does a really good job of showing you what your audience liked or did not like. Hootsuite will show you how many retweets you got on things. You can see these all within Twitter, but they spell it out a little bit easier. Sharist is the one that I use almost exclusively. One of the things that I love about this is when you share something, you know on Facebook how many likes you got, how many comments, and how many shares. But it does not as easily show you how many times people clicked on the URL in your share. So one of the things that Sharist shows me is even if I didn't get, for this article, for example, that was on Twitter, but if it was on Facebook, I would be able to see on Facebook that nobody shared it. I would be able to see that nobody liked it, but I wouldn't, I want to see how many people clicked on that. So a lot of times I'll look at something I put on Facebook and realize, oh, nobody liked that, nobody commented on it. But when I go into some of my third-party tools, I can see 40 people read that article, even though I don't see on Facebook that I was getting the interaction. So I think those third-party tools are really helpful. And I think that is everything we had to say. Do we have questions on Twitter?
I don't see any yet. I might have to brag some people. Does anybody have any questions? There's a lot there. We know a lot about this stuff. Come on, somebody's got something.
And there's a microphone in the middle.
Yeah. Stand at the mic. They need that mic for the video. So just line up behind that mic there and ask your questions.
So I just started on the Facebook marketing thing, so a lot of this information is pretty good. Now, how long, how many views, how many clicks do you usually let an ad go until you decide to make changes? Or do you just do, like you said, you put the 6 pictures up and do it that way?
So for me, that comes back to something that was in my slides. You need to know what a relevant sample size is in order to be able to say something is working or isn't working. There was a link in that slide that I think the slides are up on SlideShare, on SlideShare. And it's just a simple calculator that asks you how confident you want to be. Usually that's around 300 to 1,000. Okay. But I'm using feelings there because I don't really know much about what you're doing on your campaign. I don't know if anybody else has anything else to say about that.
My initial reaction is I would use my feelings and I would get a gut feel if it was working or not. But I think it depends on your budget and how much you're making from a conversion. So it's just like when JT was showing his case study, and if he was spending $150 to get a $147, wait, am I saying that backwards? If he was...
I was paying $147 to make a
$150 sale, then that's not a good way to test. I typically let it run for about a week, and it becomes evident quickly which one's succeeding over another.
And the only thing I'll add is, what are your expectations? You know, if you have a certain number in mind that's going to get you fired up, then if you're not meeting it fast enough, then make changes.
Yeah, I tend to think too that time's irrelevant. It's the number of people. So like if you can get 10,000 people in a week, then in a week's what you need, that's cool. But if you can get 10,000 people in a day, it's the same number. You're welcome. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I guess my question is about controlling those experiments that you're running. So doing A/B testing is one thing. You're sort of testing two things at once and hoping something will bubble to the surface. Facebook lets you, put in 6 pictures and however many headlines. But how do you, I guess our problem is we have a limited number of people coming to look at a page. Let's say we're optimizing a landing page. And let's say only 300 people are seeing it in a day. How quickly can you iterate, and what tools do you use to control that, so that I know it was me changing the button from red to chartreuse that changed everything?
Optimizely has that built in. They'll tell you. They actually have that statistical relevance. They'll tell you like this test is done, which is kind of nice. Once again, you want to go until you reach your sample size. So if that takes a week, it takes a week. If it takes a month, it takes a month, right? Like some bloggers get like 5 people a day, or like maybe 5 people a week, right? Like, so that might take a month to get up to the numbers they need, or 2 months or 3 months or whatever it is. But make sure you hit that number.
Yeah.
Does that help? I don't know. You guys have anything else?
For those kinds of tests, I've used Crazy Egg also. I'm not sure. Can anybody in the room confirm if Crazy Egg still is around and does that?
You use a radar, yeah.
Perfect. So you can answer that perfectly. You can test right there that just changing that color. You can do that through Google Webmaster Tools also, doing the split A/B testing, and you'll be able to define just changing that color is what changed everything.
Yeah, I think I just get caught up going, all right, I want to try something totally different.
Right.
But really you need to iterate through those things, and sometimes it takes longer than you'd like it to take. So looking for shortcuts.
Yeah, I think Crazy Egg is a good option for that if you want to test several different iterations.
Do I need to bribe people to ask questions? Go up to the mic.
Do you have any tools that you could that you could subscribe to or use that will help you show the analytics, or show you the demographics that are coming to your site? Certain pages getting certain types of demographics, whether they're over 50, under 50, male, female.
So one of the things I do is I run a lot of CPC. So when I'm segmenting my ads, I make sure that I set that information and put it into a database as soon as they land on the website, so that I can collect demographics about the people moving through my sites. You guys have anything?
But you're targeting, what you're doing is you're targeting a particular demographic.
Right. So that,
I'm talking about when, a vast majority of people are landing on a particular page, if you can see which ones organically are going to a particular page. Are you, for instance, if I've got a page that's dedicated to motorcycles, am I getting mostly males, or is there a good amount of females on that website as well?
Right. So that's really hard to tell unless you have them log in or do something like that.
Yeah. You don't know of any tools out there that can.
If you have them logging in, I don't know of any tools that do it for an anonymous user. But if you can get them to log in and give you their email or do a Facebook login,
Sure.
There's a company called Full Contact that make this thing called the Full Contact API, and it'll pull in as much information as they have on that person. And their entire business model is built around connecting people's social profiles together. So you should be able to pull that information in and then pull out demographic information.
And it'll pull that based on the page that they're on, it'll make that association?
Yep.
All right, great.
Yeah. You guys have any other?
I was just going to say, I don't think you can get that data unless they're logging in some way. But if you're using your social media, if they're coming from social media, you can see that within the Facebook Insights, and also Sprout Social is really good for that.
Great, thank you.
Yep.
They just have to
if they're logged in.
Yeah.
Anybody else? Flock up there.
Or does anybody have an example of anything that we talked about that you've seen that works or didn't work, or that you could use?
We probably have at least 15 minutes left. I will look at your website if you want, whatever you want. You got us.
Shoot, we got one.
No, I was just going to mention about using photos on Facebook versus no photos. I know in my experience that when I use photos, I have a lot less views. So almost all of my posts go up without photos because I get, a post without a photo will get 4,000 views, and a post with a photo will get 300. And so even though there's more engagement, let's say there's more comments on that photo or whatnot, the traffic back to my website on a status without a photo is far more,
Yeah.
So I have to repeat that so the camera can hear it now. She's basically saying that the posts that she put up without photos convert to her website a lot better than the ones that have them. She gets a lot more views, those kind of things. So that's her data, and do with it as you will.
I think it's important to acknowledge that if that's your goal, is traffic back to your site, then fantastic. But if your goal is to grow your social community and get more people having conversations to spread the word and go that way, then I think it's, just know what your goals are so that you can meet them.
Yeah, I think that's what I was going to say too. I can't see you over there. But I think that goes back to what JT said about really defining what your conversion is and what you need your audience to do. And once you know that, then you can, once you know those goals, then you have a better idea of what kind of what kind of interaction you need.
Any chance you can run up to the mic? Thank you.
just going to say, as a follow-up, what I do is when my goal is to convert the traffic back to my website, I'll put it without a photo, but in order to build the social community on my page, I'll put, funny photos or cats or whatever. So I sort of mix it up to sort of compensate for both of those, the photos and the viewership.
And I think that balance is good so that you can appeal to all the different audiences that you might have.
Something that I was thinking about while she was saying that though is, so I was just at Blog World, and it's funny the amount of people that have a lot of social influence based on cat pictures, and they can't sell anything to their audience at all because their audience freaks out. So make sure that you're with your audience, you're starting to, you get them used to a little bit of sales here and there. Otherwise they might freak out the first time you try to sell them something and you'll lose them. That is a big difference in trend between like Blog World and here. Anybody else?
Sorry, I thought of one more.
Go for it.
So I'm actually a vendor, I'm a merchant. I'm not an affiliate marketer, but we're starting up an affiliate marketing program, and I think I'd like to know what kind of tools that we could provide that you guys find most useful, or networks that provide the most valuable data to an affiliate marketer.
Tools are tricky. That's what I do for a living. We try to build tools. I have Daft Labs. Our portfolio of stuff is mostly tools for making websites, managing websites, and managing social. So I always ask that question too. Some things, Google Plus is something to pay attention to. The tools in the Google Plus arena fall really short. Instagram and Pinterest are up and coming. Not very many tools exist for those. That's kind of the wild, wild west still. Do be careful though, because those platforms are going to start building out their own analytics. We got hammered pretty hard when Facebook Insights came out and when Twitter's business analytics came out. So most importantly, when you're building tools, make sure that they provide some sort of decision-making value. You're not just aggregating data. That's my feeling. Yeah. What are you guys missing in tools?
I was going to say, I think Ashley and I use the same tools. Sharist and Sprout Social are my go-tos. There are a couple of others out there, but my agency's kind of small, so I don't have 20 grand a month to pay. Yeah. So those are my go-tos.
Anybody else?
Just a quick question. We're seeing a lot of likes from a demographic that really should have no interest in our brand. And I'm just curious if if there's some kind of anything weird behind that, or are they getting paid for that?
That can be a number of different things. Stick around because I'm going to probably ask you some questions. So first things first, are you paying for likes in any way? And I don't mean like paying like Fiverr or something. I mean like, are you running like a like campaign on Facebook, or is it completely organic?
Not for these, no.
It could just be that what you're posting is for some reason interesting to some group of people. It is really important to know why, though. You should really dive into that and figure it out. I've had some really weird anomalies happen in my data before. It took me months to figure out what was going on. But when I finally did, it made perfect sense. You guys got any thoughts on what's going on with him?
What niche, what subject?
It's a baby brand, and we're just getting likes from parts of the world and people that, you know, too young, you know, just it wouldn't make sense. So
Yeah,
maybe just
the only
random,
thing I
but-
can add is that some people share accounts, you know, like husbands and wives share accounts. Kids, their moms won't let them on Facebook, they'll get on their mom's Facebook, or you know, vice versa, whoever left the computer open.
Bots or something too.
Yeah.
So there's nothing, I mean,
I wouldn't worry about it.
it doesn't
too
matter,
much.
but I'm just
Yeah.
curious, yeah.
Yeah,
Well-
I wouldn't worry about it either, because you never know who that person is and who their audience is or who their friends are and how they have their privacy settings. If they've got everything open to share with friends, that's just more people that you didn't get to before, and that the audience you're getting to that way may be beneficial.
Okay.
So I just celebrate it, do a little dance, and
The other side of that too, though, is watch your conversions, because as you get more and more likes, Facebook's going to start nerfing your reach and start making you pay for it. So if you have a lot of bogus likes in there, then that's going to make that more expensive for you to reach the people that actually care. So yeah, keep an eye on that. It's probably real people. They do a pretty good job with spam, but I don't know.
yeah, the last thing I'll say is, how did your page start? Like, did you get every employee to like it, or you know, anybody you could get your hands on? So maybe the first couple hundred people weren't your target audience. You were just trying to build up your likes. That's the only other thing I can think of.
Yeah, I mean, I don't track it all the time. I just every once in a while I see that there's, you know, it almost seems like spam. But anyway, thanks a lot.
You're welcome. So we got 7 minutes.
So quick question. With Google's most recent update of Hummingbird, and now that SEO keywords are no longer available to third-party analytics tools, how would you optimize your site against data versus fillings now that you don't have that keyword data available?
So I notoriously don't like SEO. I'm all CPC. I understand SEO and that kind of stuff, but I don't optimize for keywords. So I don't know if you guys have any sort of thoughts on that.
I don't have anything to add, but you can probably catch one of us that can introduce you to somebody that can tell you.
I did see that Ray Hoffman a little while ago was talking about the Google Analytics enterprise level stuff, and I think you'll get access to some of that keyword stuff, but I hear it's pretty expensive. Do you know anything about that, Eric? Yeah, $150,000 a year. So that might be a new play for them, but I don't know a lot about that specific thing. Go ahead.
I just saw that Facebook does not allow sponsored stories anymore since 2 or 3 days ago. So I was wondering, are sponsored stories the same thing as sponsored posts? How does that whole thing work? Because I handle my social media myself, and the best way that I found to find qualified users was to actually retarget them through sponsored posts and sponsored stories. So that being out of the question, what exactly is sponsored post, and what is your new way you're thinking to get new likes in?
So a sponsored post was if someone took some action on your page, if they liked something, commented on it, or shared it, it would show on their friend's news feed. So if I'm friends with all 4 of these people here, I liked a page, then it would show to all 4 of them that I had liked it. And you could get that to show over and over. Facebook just took that option away. I was very disappointed because I used that a lot to get engagement on my pages. But then I would find some pages that it just wasn't useful at all. So I think that it just forces us to be a little bit more creative as marketers. You could still do something similar because I I just think it just forces us to be more creative with the ads. I agree that I think that was strange that they took that away because I think that a lot of people were very successful with it. I loved showing people that their friends had liked something. So one of the things I try to do with my ads is ask a question, and it helps with the engagement a lot, but yeah, those are gone. That's sad.
I got screwed by that too, and because I've been here for so long in Vegas, I haven't had any time to deal with that problem.
You don't know that they're gone already?
I'd heard, but I haven't even looked at anything. I don't even know what status my ads are in right now. How about you, Shannon? Do you have anything to say?
I was going to say, I completely agree with Ashley 100%.
No, promoted posts are, if you write a post, you can promote that post to get it showed on people's news feeds over and over. So if I write a post that the Broncos won today, then I can promote that post. It'll continually show on people's news feeds, but it will no longer show JT that I liked a business page.
Also, with promoted posts, you're combating the nerfing. So let's say you have 100,000 likes, like only 7,000 people see it or something. With that, you're getting back up towards your 100,000.
And I will say that Facebook does everything for a reason, so give them a minute to come out with the next thing that's better and more advanced. It's going to, I mean, they want us to succeed because they want to make money. So I just give them a little room to show us the next great thing.
Anything else? We're almost out of time, but we have time for like one more
we are
question.
out of time.
Oh, we're out.
There it is. My clock's fast. Cool. Well, thank you very much. We'll be up here for a few minutes. Come ask us questions. I know a lot of people are afraid to get in front of the mic.
We appreciate you coming.